Hare Krishna, welcome to this episode of Bhagavad Gita. Today we'll be studying the third and fourth verses of the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The topic being rising from the impersonal to the personal realization of God. So we will say our Mangalacharan prayers to invoke the blessings of the entire parampara and then we will begin. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we actually did the 12th chapter 5th verse, but when I was categorizing the videos on the channel, I found out I haven't done a class on the third and fourth verses. So here we are, chapter 12, texts 3 and 4 of Bhagavad Gita. Ye tvakshara anirdeshyam avyaktam paryupasate sarvatragam achintyam cha kutastham achalam dhruvam sanniyamyendriyagramam sarvatra samabuddhayah te prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhutahite ratah. Ye, those who, tu, but, aksharam, that which is beyond the perception of the senses, anirdeshyam, indefinite, avyaktam, unmanifested, paryupasate, completely engage in worshipping, sarvatragam, all pervading, achintyam, inconceivable, cha, also, kutastham, unchanging, achalam, immovable, dhruvam, fixed, sanniyamya, controlling, indriya gramam, all the senses, sarvatra, everywhere, samabuddhayah, equally disposed, te, they, prapnuvanti, achieve, mam, me, eva, certainly, sarvabhuta hite, for the welfare of all living entities, ratah, engaged. Just a second. Just a second. Okay, so translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed, and immovable, the impersonal conception of the Absolute Truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone, such persons engaged in the welfare of all at last achieve me. Purport: Those who do not directly worship the Supreme Godhead, Krishna, but who attempt to achieve the same goal by an indirect process, also ultimately achieve the same goal, Sri Krishna. After many births, the man of wisdom seeks refuge in me, knowing that Vasudeva is all. This is chapter 7, text 19. When a person comes to full knowledge after many births, he surrenders unto Lord Krishna. If one approaches the Godhead by the method mentioned in this verse, he has to control the senses, render service to everyone, and engage in the welfare of all beings. It is inferred that one has to approach Lord Krishna, otherwise, there is no perfect realization. Often, there is much penance involved before one fully surrenders unto him. In order to perceive the supersoul within the individual soul, one has to cease the sensual activities of seeing, hearing, tasting, working, etc. Then one comes to understand that the Supreme Soul is present everywhere. Realizing this, one envies no living entity. He sees no difference between man and animal because he sees soul only, not the outer covering. But for the common man, this method of impersonal realization is very difficult. And that is exemplified, that is emphasized more in the next verse, which is Kleshodhikatarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukkham dehavadbhiravapyate. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. So we have done the class on this one. But it all ties together. So here, those who worship the impersonal aspect of the Absolute Truth, it is said here that after they worship this aspect, at last achieve me. Here. But this word, at last, is not there in the Sanskrit. Prabhupada put it at last. If you read just the Sanskrit, I'm not saying that he put it without any context. Of course, we should understand why it has been put. Because sometimes people, those who are impersonalists and those who know a little bit of Sanskrit and some of the slokas of the scriptures, they will attack us, saying that we do not know the Sanskrit, we are just accepting the translation that is given by Prabhupada in English. We have no connection with the Sanskrit, the original text, and therefore we are being misled. You are just following the words of your guru, who has manipulated the message and put it in a certain way. You do not know why it is being said. We know the Sanskrit. In that way, they try to monopolize the understanding, that as if only they can understand and we don't. And therefore, as we become more advanced in Krishna consciousness, we need to pay attention to all the arguments. We need to pay attention to the actual manner in which Srila Prabhupada has translated and why he did so. All of this we have to understand closely. Then we will be better equipped to defend our spiritual master, our Guru, Srila Prabhupada, and the entire parampara and Krishna himself, because we have to defend this. This is very precious. This knowledge is sarva guhyatamam. It is very confidential. It is usually misunderstood by the people because of their own speculative tendencies. They misunderstand these things, and thus they misrepresent these teachings and mislead so many people. And therefore, in order to establish Krishna consciousness, it has to be based on the Siddhanta. So today I was reading Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's book, his life, Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhav. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is saying, he says that Bhakti, devotional service to Krishna, stands on the firm platform of Bhakti Siddhanta. And if you see the word Siddhanta, Siddhanta is usually understood as philosophy. That's a kind of watered down understanding of the word Siddhanta. Siddha means perfect, Anta means the end. The end of perfection in understanding something is called Siddhanta. So Bhakti Siddhanta, it's not Bhaktivad, Mayavad, all these are Vad, are all arguments, are all positions. But Bhakti is not just a Vad, it's not just another position. We don't say Bhaktivad. We should not say. If anybody says that, we should correct it. Bhakti Siddhanta. It's the perfection of the philosophy. And such philosophy, Bhakti Siddhanta philosophy, the perfect end of perfection of understanding of Bhakti, begins with the distinguishing between spirit and matter. We should always be very careful in discerning what is material and what is spiritual, because material activities may be presented as if they are spiritual, and one becomes misled. And spiritual activities are sometimes shunned away as material. For example, when a devotee rightly becomes angry at someone who misrepresents Krishna's philosophy, people try to oppose oppose such a devotee by saying, "Oh, you see, look at him, he's getting angry. He's not a sadhu. He has all these material faults in him. He cannot be sadhu. You see, I am very peaceful. I'm smiling and I'm talking. He's getting angry." But a devotee who actually loves Krishna will get angry if his beloved Lord is being, if his beloved Lord or his teachings or his servant are being insulted, and he will. So that is actually spiritual, but it is presented as if it's material, and in this way, the conflation between spiritual and material, if we do not know ayathavat prajanati, then we will be committing mistakes. Ayathavat, let's see, 1831. बुद्धिः सा पार्थ राजसी यया धर्मम अधर्मम च कार्यम चाकार्यमेव च अयथावत् प्रजानाति बुद्धिः सा पार्थ rajasi. That understanding which cannot distinguish between religion and irreligion, between action that should be done and action that should not be done, is in the mode of passion. So when we do not know what is spiritual and material, when we conflict the two, we cannot distinguish between the two, then we start to enter into confusion, and eventually everything will be misunderstood and one falls directly into the mode of ignorance after that. I mean, gradually, and one totally has opposite understandings. In fact, complete misunderstandings of the entire philosophy. So in this way, one has to properly first understand all of these arguments, and if we look closely into Prabhupada's way of translating, we will then observe, we will be better equipped. So coming back to today's verse, at last achieve me, but in the Sanskrit there is no at last. Samabuddhaya prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhuta hite ratah. They will achieve me. That's all it is said. Not at last. But it is at last. And Prabhupada justifies that in the purport, because after many births the man of wisdom seeks refuge in me, knowing that Vasudeva is all. What is this? Bhagavad Gita 7:19. Actually, this link is, I think, going there. See? Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudevah sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabhaha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes, and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. See, after many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge. Um, and the question, Arjuna's question in the 12th chapter in the beginning was, which is more perfect, personal or impersonal? Personal is better, Krishna said in the second verse. See. श्री भगवानुवाच मय्यावेश्य मनो ये माम नित्ययुक्त उपासते श्रद्धया परयोपेतास्ते मे युक्ततमा मताः. Those who fix their minds on my personal form, mam, you see, mayi, upon me. So this is in the first person, Krishna is speaking, upon me, me. So, and shraddhaya, upasate, worship with faith. This is bhakti. Those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect. And 647, who is the highest yogi? The Shraddhaya comes again there also. Yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yo mam same yukta tamo mataha. And of all yogis, the one with great faith, who always abides in me and thinks of me within himself and renders transcendental loving service to me, he is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. Bhajate renders transcendental loving service. So, that transcendental faith, you see again here, Shraddhavan there, here Shraddhaya Paraya, transcendental faith. So, this is Bhakti Yogi, who worships the personal form of the Lord. He is most perfect. Teme yukta tama mataha. See, the most perfect in yoga, mataha, are considered by me. So Krishna is considering means it's a fact. Krishna's opinions are facts. Our opinion may or may not coincide with the fact, but Krishna's opinions are facts. So when he says are considered by me means that is the truth. Now the third and fourth verse is, he says ye to aksharam. You see, tu means but those who meditate on the aksharam, this anirdesham avyaktam paryupasate sarvatragam achintyam cha kutastham achalam dhruvam. So all these are descriptions of the impersonal absolute truth, impersonal aspect of the absolute truth, the Brahma Jyoti. All these different adjectives are used there. Te prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhuta hite rataha. So they also will reach me, the impersonalists, but after many births at last. Because param, what is that? Aruhya krichrena parampadam tataha patantyadha anadrata yushmadanga. When they patanti, when they fall down, then they may or may not again associate with devotees. And if they associate with devotees, then they again will climb up. Or sometimes in the Brahma Jyoti itself, they may contact a devotee. And then from there, they may go to Vaikuntha planets. Or they may come down here. But one thing is necessary, association with devotees. Without association of devotees, one cannot go back to Krishna. Charya Vaishnav Seva Nistar Paiche Keba. Without serving the pure devotees, we cannot go back to Krishna. We cannot have the personal realization. Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. So they have to do a lot of welfare activities for others. All that is for this reason, that is to understand that the super soul is everywhere. And it's a very difficult process. It's not natural. It's a very unnatural process. Because they have to stop their sensual sanniyamyandriya gramam. They have to control their senses, no eating, no sleeping. It's a very, very minimal, very hard tapasya is enacted by such practitioners, and only after that one can rise to that um, personal aspect. So, rising from impersonal to personal, perfect example, there is the four Kumaras and Shukadev Goswami. The thing that Shukadev Goswami, he was impersonalist and became personalist in the very same lifetime, very quickly, matter of minutes. When he heard the verses from the Bhagavatam, then he became perfect in the personal conception. And then he came back to listen to the entire Bhagavatam from Vyasadeva. And then he spoke to Parikshit Maharaj. And in that assembly, Suta Goswami was there. And he further narrated them to the sages at Naimisharanya headed by Shaunak Rishi. In this way, the knowledge is passed down. So, Sukadev Goswami was impersonalist, but the thing that changed him is the association with devotee, Vyasadeva, who is of course Krishna himself, Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa, but he came in the form of a devotee and he wrote this entire Vedic scriptures for the benefit of Kali Yuga population. So after hearing from a devotee, then the Sukadeva Goswami changed his mind. Now, I think this is 5, 12, 13. यत्रोत्तमश्लोकगुणानुवादः प्रस्तूयते ग्राम्यकथाविघातः निषेव्यमाणो नुदिनं मुमुक्षोर्मतिं सतीं यच्छति वासुदेवे. Who are the pure devotees mentioned here? In an assembly of pure devotees, there is no question of discussing material subjects like politics and sociology. In an assembly of pure devotees, there is discussion only of the qualities, forms, and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is praised and worshipped with full attention. In the association of pure devotees, by constantly hearing such topics respectfully, even a person who wants to merge into the existence of the Absolute Truth abandons this idea and gradually becomes attached to the service of Vasudeva. And this is echoed in this famous verse, which was explained in 61 different ways by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Suta Uvacha Atma Ramascha Munayo Nirgrantha Apyurukrame Kurvantya Haitukim Bhaktim Itham Bhuta Guno Harihim. Suta Goswami said, all different varieties of Atma Ramas, those who take pleasure in the Atma or spirit self, primarily, of course, there are 61 different meanings that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained, but primarily this is describing the self-realized mystics who are impersonalists, those who take pleasure in the Atma or spirit self, especially those established in the path of self-realization, though freed from all kinds of material bondage, desire to render unalloyed devotional service unto the personality of Godhead. When does that happen? This means that the Lord possesses transcendental qualities and therefore can attract everyone, including liberated souls. So, when they hear about these transcendental qualities of Krishna, they immediately become attracted. Imagine, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was such a strict sannyasi, and he was so strict that even if a woman wants to pay obeisances, she has to do it from a distance. She cannot come anywhere close. And he was very, very strict with his observance. But even he said, Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Ya Kalpita. He said the gopis' method to worship Krishna, of worshipping Krishna, is the highest. That means what? The gopis And Gopi's method was not just a normal marriage, it was like a paramour love, akin to paramour love, which in the material world would be very abominable. Such a perversion of, I mean, a perverted reflection of the Gopi's love, which is in this world like a paramour love, is very abominable. But if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is um, attesting, endorsing such a method, that means it's far above the rules of even sannyas, the strictures of sannyas. That means it's transcendental. So it's not mundane. And that's why even the greatest of saints and sannyasis, they relish the pastimes of Krishna. They're not debauchees, not that they have taken sannyas and then secretly enjoying some sex novel, sex stories. No. Great acharyas. I mean, Madhavendra Puri, he expressed the sentiments of Radharani. Who is this? Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami. They are not ordinary. They're Goswamis of the highest order. And they were always, Hey Radhe Vraja Devi Ke Chalalite, Hey Nanda Suno Kutaha. They're always thinking about Radha and Krishna. Why would they meditate on Radha and Krishna if it is a debauchery? No, it's not. So therefore, these are transcendental qualities. So when Shukadeva Goswami heard many transcendental qualities, one of which is 3.2.23, famous verse which turned Shukadeva Goswami to become a personalist. Ahobakiyam stanakalakutam jighamsaya yadapyasadvi lebhe gatim dhatri uchitam tatonyam kamvadayalum sharanam vrajema. Alas, how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than him, Lord Krishna, who granted the position of mother to the she-demon Putana, although she was faithless and had prepared deadly poison to be sucked from her breast. Here is an example of the extreme mercy of the Lord even to his enemy. So, why did this verse attract Shukadeva Goswami? Because he was a liberated soul. He was, he was a Brahman realized soul. Why would this attract him? Yeah, I'm enjoying my Brahman realized. Okay, somebody tried to kill him. Okay, somebody was merciful. That's fine. Okay, I'm not concerned with all of this. I'm just in Brahman. Why then was he attracted? Because usually such Brahman realized people, they study the Vedas, like even Shankaracharya's followers, the Mayavadis. They are very much into logic, nyaya. And ordinary nyaya is understandable. Okay, he did something, he got a resultant reaction. Yeah, that's fair. So it's all about fairness. And of course, logic, nyaya means logic, nyaya means justice in different connotations of the word. But there, logically, yes, if somebody tries to kill you, you should kill him. Like that is the natural thing one should do. Even in atatai, the word is atatai, and in the Bhagavad Gita 136, not this one. In the purport, you see, according to Vedic injunctions, there are six kinds of aggressors: a poison giver, which was Putana; one who sets fire to the house; one who attacks with deadly weapons; one who plunders riches; one who conquers another's land; and one who kidnaps a wife. Such aggressors are at once to be killed, and no sin is incurred by killing such aggressors. So, that is a logical counteraction to Putana's action. Now, seemingly outwardly, Krishna actually killed her, which um, is probably the just thing to do. But then Krishna is capable of much more than we can, right? So we can only maybe follow such rules here and kill a person. We don't have any agency in determining the person's next life, where he's going to go and what he's going to do. We don't have. Now Krishna has, and he's so powerful. Nobody can harm him. And if imagine a person in this material world who has such unbounded power that he cannot be touched. No matter what you do to him, nothing will happen to him. But then, if he sees that, okay, you have tried to kill me, nothing can happen to me. But how dare you? I'll teach you a lesson so that the whole world will know what my power is. That's what a person in this material world would do. And he would punish him so badly to show his might. But here, Krishna was not interested in that. He killed her, but he gave her position of mother, which defies all logic. There's no logic to that. It is only mercy. Um, like Krishna said, "Sarvadharman parityajyam mamekam sharanam vraja. Ham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishami masucha." You surrender to me, I deliver you from all sinful reactions. You surrender, I deliver. So there is an exchange. Okay, you do this, I do this. Okay, yeah, this is a transaction. Okay, that's fine. That is also mercy. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is not proportionate. Like Krishna says, "Ye yatha mam prapadyanti tam tathaiva bhajamyaham." According to the proportion of my devotion, Krishna's reciprocation will be accordingly, right? Krishna's reciprocation will be proportionate to my devotion. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's patra patra dekha nahi sthana sthan. That's so that defies logic. That's the thing. There's no logic to it because you see, patra patra vichara nahi sthana sthan jai jaha paye taha kore prema dan. Similar verses in the 9th chapter of Adilila as well. I forgot the number. In distributing love of Godhead, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates did not consider who was a fit candidate and who was not, nor where such distribution should or should not take place. They made no conditions. Wherever they got the opportunity, the members of the Panchatattva distributed love of Godhead. So this defies logic. This is just mercy. So that kind of mercy Krishna exhibited in the case of Putana, deadly intention, but see what she got. He is so merciful. So this is the kind of quality that attracted Shukadeva Goswami. Even a Brahman realized person, for him it is unfathomable. How can somebody be so great? Like he took a good thing. She has come as if like a mother. She's not come like a mother. She's come like a absolute demoness. But just the act of offering her breast to Krishna, he took that good part out of volumes of literal poison. What is that? Amedhyadapi kanchanam, नीचादप्युत्तमं ज्ञानम, स्त्रीरत्नम दुष्कुलादपि. Always forget the first. Vishadapyamritam grahyam. Vishadapyamritam grahyam amedhyadapi kanchanam. Um, Nichadapyuttamam jnanam striratnam dushkuladapi. Chanakya Pandit says that one must catch what is right from any source. If there is a glass of poison with some nectar in it, he says one should take out the nectar and leave the poison. In the same way, if one finds gold in a filthy place, he should take it. Similarly, although according to the Vedic system of education, one must be given instruction by intellectual persons like Brahmanas, if someone lower on the social scale has learned the truth, one should accept him as a teacher and learn from him. What to speak? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught us how to learn from Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishuna, trees and grass, which is not even human being, but we have to learn. One should not think that just because one is lowly born, one should not be accepted as a teacher. Similarly, if one is serious about understanding God, he should not think I'm a Christian, Hindu, Muslim. If one is serious about understanding love of God, he should consider which process is practical. One should not think, why should I follow Hindu or Vedic scriptures? The purpose of following the Vedic scriptures is to develop love of God. You see how nicely he's explaining. When students come to America for higher education, they do not consider the fact that the teachers may be American, German, or of other nationalities. If one wants a higher education, he simply comes and takes it. Similarly, if there is an effective process for understanding and approaching God, like this Krishna consciousness process, one should take it. So, in this way, one should take the good thing. So, Krishna took the best thing out of Putana's activity. Actually, there's nothing good. In fact, she faked good and spread bad. But still, even that fakeness, Krishna took it as a good thing. Even the pretension of devotion is rewarded by Krishna. Imagine what will be the result of actual devotion. So, the thing that we should do from impersonal to personal realization, and not only from impersonal to personal, but even in personal, we have to rise to the Shuddha Bhakti platform. Third class, second class, first class devotees are there. So we have to climb up. Many times we say that Arohe Krichrena Parampadam Tataha Patantyadha. The impersonalists, they may fall down, but the devotee like Haridas Thakur, they don't fall down. But there are many devotees who fell down and who continue to fall down. Why? If devotional service should not, cause us to fall down, why do we? Because we have to come to the actual highest stage of devotional service, Shuddha Bhakti. Then, yes, we will be eligible. Like in the next verses of this 12th chapter, 6th verse onwards, Krishna says how very quickly he can be delivered. You see, a devotee can be very quickly, whereas an impersonal struggles a lot. Devotee, very quickly he will progress. But provided he is serious about it. Ye tu sarvani karmani mayi sanyasya matparaha ananyena iva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate tesham aham samudharta mrityu samsara sagarat bhavami na chirat partham maya veshita chetasam. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. A swift deliverer for the devotees. But what kind of devotees? Giving up all their activities unto me. Sarvalabdharpanena cha. Without deviation. Always meditating upon me. Fix their minds upon me. Without deviation. So, those kinds of devotees, he is the swift deliverer. So, we cannot think that, I am also devotee, so he will be swift deliverer of me. No, I should qualify. to be the proper kind of devotee that Krishna wants to deliver quickly. Otherwise, Bahunam Janmanam, what is that? Sorry. Bahujanma kare jadi Shravan Kirtan, tabuta na paye Krishna pade premadhan. Even for millions of lifetimes, we may chant and hear Shravan Kirtan, even, which is the Yuga Dharma for the age. We may do that. Oh, not this. Next one. If one is infested with the 10 offenses in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name for many births, he will not get the love of Godhead. That is the ultimate goal of this chanting. So, don't be too happy that you have started chanting and start celebrating too early. No. To understand the nuances of devotional service, it is not that by scholarship one can understand this. Just because one knows a lot of verses does not mean he's advanced. One has to know the actual essence of devotional service. And if we offend devotees, we cannot have access. Forget it. Prabhur nindaya shabar buddhi hoilo nash, supatita vidya karo na hoye prakash. When all the students thus resolved criticizing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their intelligence was spoiled. Thus, although they were learned scholars, because of this offense, the essence of knowledge was not manifested in them. वस्तु आचार्य को है वस्तु विषय आचार्य को है वस्तु विषय होय वस्तु ज्ञान वस्तु तत्व ज्ञान होय कृपा ते प्रमाण वस्तु तत्व ज्ञान होय कृपा ते प्रमाण. Knowledge of the summum bonum, the absolute truth, is evidence of the mercy of the Supreme Lord. And if one does not have the mercy of the Supreme Lord, he cannot have knowledge of the summum bonum. So this Krishna Tattvavit is not a very cheap thing. One may know the verses and still not know the summum bonum. Because if he really knows, it will be evident in his conduct. It will be evident in his thinking. And in the Bhagavatam, Sadhushu prahitam tejah prahartuh kurute shivam. O Brahmana, let me now advise you for your own protection. Please hear from me. By offending Maharaj Ambarish, you have acted with self-envy. Therefore, you should go to him immediately without a moment's delay. Now, this is the important point. One's so-called prowess, when employed against the devotee, certainly harms him who employs it. Thus, it is the subject, not the object, who is harmed. So, if we try to attack devotees with our so-called knowledge, with our so-called prowess, then we will be harmed. So, we should not take this lightly. And one will not treat the devotees rightly if he does not understand Krishna's instruction. To please Krishna, we have to satisfy his devotees. In fact, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says quite the opposite. He says, it is not because Radharani is dear to Krishna that we worship Radharani. It is because Krishna is dear to Radharani that we worship Krishna. If we deeply think about that, it will totally invert our understanding of the mode of service. He said, I'll repeat again, we do not worship Radharani because she is dear to Krishna. We worship Krishna because she is dear to Radharani. To please Radharani, we have to serve Krishna. Why is that so important? I mean, my realization only allows to a certain extent. There might be much more profound explanation of this, which I may come across in that book, but as of yet, I haven't read the full explanation of it. I was just contemplating myself. I just saw the statement of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Our real concern is Radharani. It is because Radharani worships Krishna, and because Krishna is dear to Radharani. So to please Radharani, we worship Krishna. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said. It is not because Radharani is pleasing to Krishna, and therefore we worship Radharani because she is dear to Krishna. Krishna is not the center. Because the mode of service, it cannot come from up down. It should go from down up. That is one of the realizations I gather. We cannot bypass the Acharya and Radharani, our one's own Guru, the entire parampara, and the Radharani, and finally Krishna. So we cannot bypass and go to Krishna. Oh, because through Krishna, then I will see my Guru. No. You cannot see Krishna without Guru. Of course, there is an interdependent relation, not interdependent, how to say, for the lack of a better word that comes to my mind, I'll use interdependent. There's an interdependent relationship between Krishna and the Guru. Both are dear to each other, right? But our first concern is our Guru. Classic example is in that song of Narottam Das Thakur. Sri Rupa Manjari Pada. This song is very dear to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So I was just putting these two together because when he said we worship Krishna only because he is dear to Radharani. So I was connecting it to this song as well. So Shaimor Bhajana Pujana. My goal of my japa and my tapa, my vrata and everything is the lotus feet of Rupa Goswami. If one really thinks about that song, why should the lotus feet of Rupa Goswami be my goal? Is it not Krishna? But no, Rupa Goswami is my. So the thing is, we have to understand that without firmly catching hold on to Rupa Goswami, we cannot get Krishna. There's no way. It is not to please Krishna we are worshipping Rupa Goswami or worshipping the Acharya. It is to please Prabhu. Our businesses, our spiritual life is completely reliant. It stands on the foundation of the lotus feet of our spiritual master. Sri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma. That's the only way to devotion. So we worship Krishna because he is dear to our Guru. If we see in this way, then we will remain fixed in the position of dāsa, dāsa, anudāsa. Otherwise, we'll suddenly think we are more than Guru, more than our Shiksha Guru, more than our Diksha Guru, more than everybody, more than God also, more than Krishna also. Disease. But if we stay forever fixed, firmly fixed in the understanding that we are only dāsa, 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 anudāsa, never anything higher. Not that I promote myself to from dāsa, 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 anudāsa, now to dāsa, dāsa, anudāsa, then dāsa, anudāsa, then dāsa, then Prabhu. Aha. I have become Prabhu now. So that is the problem. I think I have become bigger now. We don't become bigger. The more we advance in spiritual life, the more we become smaller. The more we realize that we are small. Trinadapi sunichena, tarorapi sahishnuna, amanina manadena, kirtaniya sada hari. Only in that position one can continuously chant Krishna's name and become actually a devotee who is deserving of being picked up by Krishna. and be saved. That quick deliverance. Nachirat Parth, Maya Veshita Chetasam. Such a person, you see, swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. If Krishna has to deliver us swiftly, we have to come to the Ananya. You see how many words are used in these two verses. Ye tu sarvani karmani mayi sanyasa matparaha. Matpara is very important, considering Krishna to be all in all. Ananya, Ananya enaiva yogena. Ananya means without any deviation. Mam dhyayanta upasate. So you see, all these words are, Mai aveshita chetasam. You see? So in this way, we have to be that level of devotee, then swift deliverer. So to rise from impersonal to personal, even me considering myself equal to Krishna or equal to his devotees is all impersonalism. Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami says this very nicely. What is that? Even if one wants to become associates like Nanda Maharaj, if one does not want to follow in the footsteps of Nanda Maharaj, if one wants to become Nanda Maharaj or Yashoda Maya or such confidential associates, if one wants to become them, that is Mayavad. Because all of them are non-different from Krishna in the sense that they are eternal associates, they are eternal, we cannot become them. That is Mayavad. We will only become dāsa, 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 dāsana, dāsa. That is proper constitutional position, our constitutional position. So, unless we come to that position, we will be impersonal. We will have impersonal tendencies. And as long as we harbor impersonal tendencies, all of these offensive tendencies, even in our devotional life, are vestiges of our impersonal tendencies. Of what is that impersonal tendency? It's an offensive stage where I want to be equal to the Lord, which is the beginning of our material life. So after we finish our material life, we come back to the same point of I am equal to the Lord. Aham Brahmasmi, Soham, Tattvamasi. If I say these things and think myself equal to the Lord, I have come back to the same nonsense which began my sojourn in the material world. So we have to give that up. And it has its flavors that can be perceived even in devotional life. If one wants to become better than the one's superiors, or one wants to become equal or superior to his superiors, these tendencies are all impersonalistic tendencies. The same tendency that I want to become one with the Lord. We have to be very, very alert and at all times watch ourselves, what we are thinking, how we are conducting ourselves. Only the meek and humble inherit the kingdom of God. It has to be the truth. So the meek and humble means das, das, dasana, das. Anything more than anything other than that is not humility. It is pride, it is hubris, and that will get us back to the same impersonal tendency which we started off with. And we can see that in this Eje Shri Madhavendra, Eje Shri Madhavendra Shripad Upeksha Karela, Te Aparadhe Ihara Vasana Janmila. Ramachandra Puri was thus denounced by Madhavendra Puri, his guru. Due to his offense, gradually material desire appeared within him. See that? That's a material desire. What is that? Impersonal realization. Some people, they get material entanglement, some they go into impersonal realization. Both are material desires. Impersonal realization is not really a spiritual desire, it's the beginning, it's the very reason why we came to this material world. We wanted to become one with the Lord, equal to the Lord, which we can't. So, that's why it is very essential to always watch ourselves, um, always be humble. It's easier said than done. It is simple, but it's difficult. It's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy because of our long-standing conditioning in this material world, wanting to become the overlord of all I survey. So that is the problem. That's why it is said, Sarva Bhuta Hiterata. He has to do a lot of welfare for others. He has to get in the mood of service. Of course, service to common people is not real service, but um, serving them spiritual knowledge, that is real service. Um, but at least one has to get into the mood of service, and then at last he comes to me. Because in that mood of service, one may contact devotees. Like for example, you see, when a devotee goes to a person, materialist, to collect some donation from him. Now that person, a person who is charitably disposed, may serve more, may serve the devotee more than others. So he has a charitable disposition, and he tries to do good to everybody, and he thinks giving to the temple or giving to some other material cause is all the same. His understanding is not pure, but he at least is in some form of service attitude towards others. So he wants to serve, he wants to do something for others, some selflessness is there. So that may give him a chance to contact devotees. If he is known as a charitable person, devotees would probably want to approach him for some contribution for the temple. So his materially good activities, pious activities, attract the attention of devotees, and devotees may actually want to engage him in Krishna's service. In that way, he becomes purified, and then eventually they will preach to him and give him knowledge and completely purify him of all materialistic tendencies. So in that way, one has to um, continue doing welfare activities for others, and if he becomes a little if he becomes a little famous because of that, then devotees may also dovetail his tendencies in Krishna's service and eventually engage him. But if one does not have the service attitude, he is very selfish and he doesn't interact with others or something, then it's very difficult for him to even meet devotees. So therefore, one is advised to do some pious activities. Then one can come to the point of, to many births, it is not a question of time. At last they achieve me, Krishna says. Or Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. How does that happen? So he cultivates knowledge for many, many lifetimes and then finally understands light bulb moment when I had this epiphany. I will become Krishna devotee. No. It's not about how many lives one takes, how long one has to one has to acquire knowledge. No, it's not about the time. It's about being fixed in that and then finally having the good fortune of meeting a pure devotee. That will eventually save him. Without the association of pure devotee, he cannot. Durapa hi alpatapasah seva vaikunthavartmasu yatropagiyate nityam devadevo janardanaha. Persons whose austerity is meager can hardly obtain the service of the pure devotees, progressing on the path back to the kingdom of Godhead, the Vaikunthas. Pure devotees engage 100% in glorifying the Supreme Lord, who is the Lord of the demigods and the controller of all living entities. You see? It's meager. So those whose austerity is more, they have a more likelihood of obtaining the service of pure devotees. Then, yes, one hears from the pure devotees, immediately he starts to recognize his true position, and then he will अनाद्य विद्या युक्तस्य पुरुषस्यात्मवेदनं स्वतो न संभवादन्यस्तत्त्वज्ञो ज्ञानदो भवेत्. Because a person who has been covered by ignorance since time immemorial is not capable of effecting his own self-realization, there must be some other personality who is in factual knowledge of the absolute truth and can impart this knowledge to him. That other personality is the pure devotee. We cannot on our own effect our own self-realization. We cannot bring about our own self-realization. No. It has to be a devotee. Okay, so I think I will stop it there. It's quite a short session today, relatively speaking. Any questions or comments? Vyasa Puja offering, impersonal calamity thou hast moved. Yes. I don't think there is any possibility of devotee association in the Brahma Jyoti, right? There can be. Because devotees, they have spiritual airplanes, and the whole spiritual sky is full with those airplanes. And if you're in the sky with the airplane, and what do they do in those planes? They sing the glories as they go. And if one soul in the sky, there are so many souls in the Brahma Jyoti, scattered all over. And if they hear such glorification, if they are fortunate, they may get attracted. Who knows? So anything is possible. Don't discount the possibility. 12, 12, 69 Sukadeva Goswami's, yes. Swasukhane bhritachetas tadvyudastanyabhavoप्यजित रुचिरलीला कृष्ण सारस्तदीयम् व्यतनुत कृपयायस् तत्त्वदीपं पुराणं तमखिल वृजिनघ्नं व्याससूनुं नतोऽस्मि. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master, the son of Vyasadeva Shukadeva Goswami. It is he who defeats all inauspicious things within this universe. Although in the beginning he was absorbed in the happiness of Brahman realization and was living in a secluded place, giving up all other types of consciousness, he became attracted by the pleasing, most melodious pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna. He therefore mercifully spoke the supreme Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the bright light of the absolute truth and which describes the activities of the Lord. 1, 2, 3 also is about him. So again, it highlights the same point where even an impersonalist becomes attracted by the transcendental qualities of the Lord. Yes, 929 Adi. मागेवाना मागे के हो पात्रवा अपात्र इहार विचारना ही जाने देयो मात्र. Not considering who asked for it and who did not, nor who was fit and who unfit to receive it, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu distributed the fruit of devotional service. So 723 and 929. Sridhar Krishnadas. How do we reconcile the Chaitanya Charitamrita verse that says anyone who chants Hare Krishna is a devotee versus the definition of a devotee in Bhagavad Gita 12.6 and 7. Yes, all are devotees. One is Kanishtha, one is Madhyama, one is Uttama. Right. So, classes of devotees. So, to encourage everyone, anyone who chants Krishna's name as a devotee, so, the baseline, the but then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said that I will not eat in the house of anyone who is not a Lakshapati, who does not chant 100,000 holy names every day. That means 64 rounds every day. If we don't chant 64 rounds, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will not even eat. We can't even offer anything to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu if we don't chant 64 rounds. That was his standard. Of course, Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also to an extent, but Prabhupada especially brought it down to 16 rounds. And therefore, we cannot talk about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna, Radharani, anybody right now, because our focus should be lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. If we please him, yasya prasadat bhagavad prasadat. We don't need to care about Bhagavad Prasad now. Just Guru Prasad first. We make him happy first. Just serve him. If we please him, that's it. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma. That's the only way. So of course there are injunctions of different weights. Which carries more weight? For example, there is this famous quotation that ISKCON devotees would like to quote regarding the law of disciplic succession, where Prabhupada writes to, I think, Tushta Krishna Swami, that in the presence of one spiritual master, one should not accept disciples, but after his departure, one can accept disciples without limit. That is the law of disciplic succession. But that's not the law of disciplic succession. But does that mean that Prabhupada did not tell the truth? So we should understand this way. The law of disciplic succession does not mean that the moment the spiritual master gives up his body, now I am Guru, I can initiate as many people as I want. In that case, Gaudiya Math is a success because everybody started initiating. The one person started initiating, eventually many started initiating. And Prabhupada said that was unauthorized. So how? If it is a law of disciplic succession that upon the departure of one's Guru, one can accept disciples without limit, is that the law? So I can also become Guru. Anybody can become Guru then. No, that's not the law. The law is one at least should not accept disciples while the Guru is still around. So he was trying to save Tushta Krishna Swami from some super fall down. At least wait until I go. But is that a real disciple who will wait for his Guru to go and then becomes a Guru himself? The real law is that he has to become a pure devotee and no I one. He will be complete controller of his senses, and also he is to be authorized by his Guru. Only upon permission given, granting of permission, then he can, by higher authorities, then he can initiate. Prabhupada also confirms that. He was asked once, how did you become spiritual master? No, when my Guru Maharaj ordered me. No, when and how, no. Don't go very speedily. When my Guru Maharaj ordered me, that's when I became Guru. No one can become Guru unless he's ordered by his Guru. So that order has to be there, and qualification as of NOI, as per NOI 1, Nectar of Instruction 1, Upadeshamrita 1, should be there. Two things are necessary. Then he can become Guru. That is the law. That is the actual law. In fact, many instances there are where the Guru is still present, but the disciple has already accepted disciples. For example, Brahma is still present, our Sampradaya Acharya is still present. Narada is still present. Vyasadeva is still present. And yet, disciples down the line, they've accepted disciples. So, none of which Prabhupada said there was the law. But the law is that one cannot do it without the authorization of the Guru. And the Guru will not authorize unless at least the person is qualified. And even with the qualification, the guru may not give authorization, and in which case he should not become a guru. He can remain Siksha Guru, but no need to accept the position of Diksha Guru on one's own, uh, how to say, self-authorized. No. So, um, so how to reconcile between that being the law of disciplic succession and the law of disciplic succession being the actual transference of spiritual knowledge and the qualification of each guru? How to reconcile? Well, different contexts to encourage who is the intended audience for such a statement. Now, if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did say that if one chants Krishna even once, he is a Vaishnava. So this is to encourage every common man to, okay, this anybody can do, I can become Vaishnava. Okay, good, I can start. So to encourage everyone to chant. But then when people were chanting, and like for example, Chota Haridas, he just saw an old woman there too. And beside her there was a younger woman. He hardly, like one glance for a split second, banished him. That person committed suicide. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, very good. If he is Vaishnava for just even once, if he chants, this person was so serious. Just in one small accidental observance of some woman, that's it. Not even touch, nothing he did. Not even talk to her. Not even talk about her. Nothing. He just saw. Maybe a very, very slight desire just came. That's it. Even then he rejected. Look at, Vajradapi kathora, kusumadapi kamala. Vajradapi kathora, kusumadapi kamala. Harder than the thunderbolt, softer than the rose. That is the Acharya. Sometimes the instructions can be harder than the thunderbolt, sometimes softer than the rose. So they employ different things at different times to encourage and strengthen the devotees. To strengthen, more stricter, instructions, more refined instructions, more nuanced, more intricate instructions are given to closer disciples who need more advancement, who need to be more sharp in their discernment and everything. And a more generalized, a more liberal invitation is given to everyone to come into the fold of Krishna consciousness. Like for example, Prabhupada gave prasadam so much, he cooked, and they used to gobble up gulab jamuns like anything, dozen gulab jamuns, and chapatis, like big size people, Americans, each 7 chapatis, 10 chapatis like this, like normal food they used to devour, and so many people used to come. Prabhupada used to cook for everybody at that age. Imagine on a regular basis, multiple times a week. So he gave them sumptuous prasadam. But then later on, when they become devotees, when they become more, then one gave the example of Raghunath Das Goswami when he ate little. We should eat little, we should control it. Even prasadam also we should take in moderation. Those are for more advanced devotees. And but in the initial, just chant and take prasadam. So such application of different pressure or the release of pressure is employed by devotees expertly by the Acharya in order to drive the point home. Yena tena prakarena manah Krishna niveshayet sarva vidhi nishedhasyur etayoreva kinkaraha. So Rupa Goswami's tenet. Somehow or other invite them to Krishna, and then slowly the rules can be applied. So in this way we have to understand. As we become more and more advanced, we should accept more and more refined, more and more stricter teachings for ourselves. We cannot follow the least common, the minimum possible standard. We should increase our standard for our own good. Otherwise, how we are going to advance more? So it will become more and more stricter and more stricter like that. Yeah, so this is the, you cannot understand unless you understand it from me. This is called parampara system. You cannot jump over to the superior guru, I mean to say neglecting the next acharya, immediate next acharya. So that's the parampara system of understanding. In fact, one of the ISKCON gurus, he said, we should understand Prabhupada in the context of the parampara. I would flip that totally. We can only understand the parampara through Prabhupada. We can understand the context of the parampara through Prabhupada. Yes, Prabhupada has a place in the parampara system, but we cannot understand the parampara without actually understanding Prabhupada. Through Prabhupada only we can understand the parampara. We cannot understand Prabhupada through parampara, through the instruction of other acharyas. No, we can only understand the instruction of other acharyas through the instructions of Prabhupada. So we should be very, very careful with this. Otherwise, if we do the Maryada Vyatikrama, if we do, our understanding will be gone. Nimanita Prabhu, why did he mention Canada dollars $39.99, $13.99? He's doing so much service there. Jai Hari Bol. All right, so I will stop it here. Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Ananta Kori Vaishnav Vrind ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.